Every success is worth savoring. Celebrate with Glenfiddich, the world's most awarded single malt Scotch whiskey. Find Glenfiddich near you at glenfiddich.com. Unmatched legacy, extraordinary taste. Drink Glenfiddich single malt Scotch whiskey responsibly. Copyright 2024. Imported by William Grant & Sons, New York, New York.
Meta just released a 4-step playbook to help SMBs like you create your strongest holiday ad campaign to date. For the secret, check out the plan available at fburl.com/SMB-holiday-guide.
Meet Brex, the world's smartest corporate card. Brex cards help 25,000 companies control spend before it happens, automate manual work, and earn more. With Brex, you can make every dollar count effortlessly. Learn more at brex.com/grow. Over 38,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. Download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/inc.
Christine,
Diana,
do you have a good story from playing sports?
as a kid,
Yes.
no.
Do you have a story?
I mean, I was the kid in gym class who wore big bottle glasses and was just constantly ducking from the ball and yet still getting hit in the face.
Oh, no.
I remember I got spiked with a volleyball in the face once and it shattered my glasses. I smashed them to my face.
Did you ever break your nose?
No, thank goodness.
I'm pretty sure I got hit in the face with a basketball once, and I'm pretty sure I broke my nose.
Oh, God.
And nothing ever came of it because, I didn't actually do anything about it. And so I have, a little...
Your nose is gorgeous.
I have, a little, crick there.
Huh.
It wasn't
Character
bad.
building.
Mm-hmm.
I could have done without that whole gym thing, though.
Yeah, I can imagine having your glasses broken while wearing them must be pretty scary, especially for a kid. This is From the Ground Up. I'm Inc. Executive Editor Diana Ransom.
And I'm Editor-at-Large Christine Lagorio-Chafkin. Today's episode, Brand Building with Ayesha Curry. So Diana, I recently spoke with Ayesha Curry. Are you familiar with her?
Not that much. I mean, I know she is. She's obviously a celebrity and the wife of Steph Curry.
Yes, this is true. Now, she would say that she is not a celebrity, but I mean, I guess you and I probably would disagree with that fact. Ayesha
She's fairly famous.
Yeah, she's the founder and CEO of Sweet July, which is a culinary and lifestyle brand. It also has skincare and a restaurant
Wow.
line. Yes,
Wait,
it
a
does
restaurant too?
lot.
Wow.
Yes, a cafe and restaurant. She really celebrates women and BIPOC creators and has built all of these brands through kind of honoring her own Jamaican family heritage.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great. So I spoke with her on the main stage at the Inc. 5000. And then afterward, we went into the podcasting booth where we kind of dug a little bit deeper on some of the topics that we spoke about on the main stage. And that is what this interview I'm bringing you is from.
Right. And I also heard that she has 4 children. I'm curious how she juggles it all.
Yes, I was too. It is a lot. And she's also getting back into publishing books that also honor her heritage and into producing and acting once again.
Oh
so
my God.
It's a lot. But I start off our conversation by asking her to go back in time and tell us what inspired Sweet July.
I've worked in restaurants. I'm in hospitality. I do television. I've had a cookware line. By far, this has been the most tumultuous, down to the nitty-gritty experience of my life.
A lot of entrepreneurs have this kind of saying, this moment of staring into the abyss or eating glass. Was there a moment where you were just I don't know if this is going to work. I should just give up on this skincare thing?
Yes. When I found myself at home in my kitchen with a pH tester during the pandemic, trying to make sure that I could because we couldn't get into the lab and trying to make sure that product samples were the right pH. And I was like, oh, I'll do it. I was like, what am I actually doing right now? I don't know, in short I don't know. So there I was like, oh my God, is this going to happen? But I know everybody during the pandemic was like, is this going to happen? And a lot of people, unfortunately, had worse experiences. And so you take the good with the bad.
You take your amateur chemistry and your products made on your kitchen table, and yeah. No, it's amazing though. Like the additional skills that you have to add to your life to make the things happen.
So fun,
right?
Though.
Yeah,
so fun.
Yeah. That's the challenge of it. Please tell me the inspiration behind Sweet July.
Sweet July originally started as skin. So that is the first thing that we unlocked under the Sweet July branch.
Yeah.
And I wanted to formulate Sweet July skin because my skin was awful. It's a continuous journey for me, and it's something that I struggled with since I was a teenager. And I still hadn't found anything like on the market that was working. I'd tried even, prescription medications, and when you're in the midst of having children and all of that, it's just not a fun game to play.
You feel like there's ingredients that are off the table for you. You feel like nothing is made just for you.
Yeah. And coming from my food background, I knew that what you can put in your skin, you can put on your skin, vice versa. And I have this Jamaican background. My mom's Jamaican, my grandma's Jamaican, I'm Jamaican, and grew up hearing about all these remedies from the island that could help. And so we started working with a chemist and a formulator to figure out how to make those things work together with using ingredients that we knew were effective, and infusing them with these beautiful Jamaican superfoods. And so Sweet July Skin was born there. And then
nice. What are some of the superfoods?
So we use things like papaya, guava. We even use, some people say lychee, but the seed and the skin can be ground into a super fine powder that's non-abrasive. And so in our cleanser, we have like a very gentle exfoliant in there that's made only from that.
And so those are like antioxidant rich.
Vitamin C rich, antioxidant rich. We use a lot of turmeric, which is anti-inflammatory and brightening. But then we also mix that with things that we know are effective, like glycolic and AHA and retinol.
Yeah.
And so I think we've created a
So what you're
brand.
saying is you are not a celebrity who just like white labeled a product and slapped their name on it.
No.
This is 5 years in the making, and you just launched Sweet July Skin not that long ago.
A year ago.
Yeah.
It took a long time. Like, short answer is no. One, because I've never considered myself a celebrity. But two, because white labeling anything is just never going to fly for me. I'm like too creative for that world. I can't do it. Can't do it.
You started your career as a chef, as a home chef, as I don't know if we called it content creation.
Like a food blogger.
Food blogger. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
We didn't really say content creator back 15 years ago.
It wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing.
And Steph was like coming out of Davidson.
Yeah.
You were blogging, you were YouTubing, right? And
it was,
like, did you see a vision for the future at that point?
No.
Like, what did you see as your future?
No, I was literally just doing what I loved. And in back in those days, I didn't even see it as a way to find like monetary gain. It was a creative outlet for me and a way to have a voice. And so it truly and organically stemmed from there. And it took other people to be like, hey, this is a career. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's do this. And once I say yes to something, like, I'm not backing down. So we went full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead. And what was the first step there? Was it the cookbook or was it the show?
It was the cookbook and then the show. So I started making videos on YouTube. So it started as a website, and then I transitioned to making videos because people were like, you're telling me how to do it, but can you show me how to do it? And so I shifted to that, and then went on the Food Network journey. And within that same time, the cookbook launched. But I'd been working on it for quite some time. And then the rest is kind of history. It's crazy. And then I met my business partner and mentor, Michael Mina, who I've gone into, the hospitality business with, and who's been he helped me lessen my imposter syndrome from a culinary perspective because I was so hard on myself that I didn't go to formal culinary school. I did culinary programs and things along the way, but never went to formal culinary school. And he was like, you're in the best school here that you could be in. You're learning every day. That's all that matters. And so he really like instilled in me that I belonged in that industry. And I'm like forever grateful to him.
Well, and I imagine he probably brought you some appreciation, too, for the fact that you grew up in this multicultural household with all these different influences and ingredients and parents who were cooking. And then you took those recipes and made something great out of it. You made this cookbook.
Yeah, I took those recipes and I made something out of it. And ironically, like that's how he runs Mina Group as well. Like it's such a collaborative effort. Like everybody from front of house to back of house can contribute and speak to what they know and the culture that they come from. And they kind of fuse things together, especially at our restaurant, International Smoke. We like fuse things together in that way. And so nothing is off limits. And I think it just creates for this beautiful family setting.
I love that. And I think that is how people want to eat and enjoy food these days, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So today, you know, we were talking about when you started 15 years ago. Today, Sweet July has a skincare line, storefronts, e-commerce, and you're working on the restaurants. It has publishing. You're the author of 2 best-selling cookbooks. Tell me, how do you balance your life? How do you get this all done?
So I think I focus on different things at different times, but always touch everything every single day. And as long as I do that, I feel good about it. There's constant
you kind of got to check in with everything. Yeah.
Everything, everyone. But I think the hiring process is so important. So when we started to do this, we made sure that we hired like-minded individuals who could see the same goals and wanted to achieve the same goals as us and had the same ethos. And I think that helps a lot too, because I don't have to stress every day that somebody's going to F something up, you know?
You trust.
It's like,
trust,
there's a lot of trust there. And then sometimes, you know, with that insurmountable amount of trust comes very depressing downfalls some days, right? Where you learn that like, nope, actually somebody doesn't have the same. And then, but you fix it and it's okay. And so like, I choose to believe that people are inherently good. And I like to fall on that trust. And it works out more times than it doesn't, and that's okay.
Yeah. So when you're building your team, like, are there traits you look for? Or is it more like a vibe? Are there certain questions that you love to ask to really get down to the essence of who someone is?
Yeah. I like to start with the core values, even outside of whatever the job description is. And then I work my way back from there. So, but you have to be smarter than me. And I like to surround myself with people who know more than I do. And I think that's always a good thing to do. But you've heard it. Everybody listening has heard that time and time again. It's a true statement.
Sure. But like culturally, I think that folks have a difficult time hiring for someone who is going to kind of have the right motives in terms of their organization, right?
And sometimes it's trial and error too, right? Like you're not going to get it right on the first hire, and that's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Again, I think when those values and the mission, the core mission are aligned, you're in a sweet spot. And so we just try to get that right. And I'm usually typically happy there. And we also keep the team very small and tight as well. There's not a lot of people. Like we're very small. And I like it that way because then I'm able to speak to everybody and have a relationship with everybody. And the communication doesn't get jumbled, and I like it that way.
Yeah. So as a small business owner, though, like you and owning a multifaceted enterprise, right? Do you want it to get bigger? Like, can you imagine the growth and then how to manage that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do want it to get bigger. Otherwise, what am I doing? Right?
Yeah.
So that is the goal and the dream, whether that means partnering with somebody, whether that means being acquired and staying on creatively. I don't know what the future holds. But I definitely do want to grow. But I can never see myself not touching everything. Yeah. I'm a bit of a control freak. And so
Yeah. So how do you deal with the setback? Like when something happens that is not right with you or does not sit right with you or some employee fails you,
Not well.
How do you?
No, honestly, I can't lie. I'm not well, but give myself 24 hours to be angry, be sad, be confused, and then I try to move on. But I'm never going to suppress. It's not my thing. I'm going to let it out and feel my feelings and then move on. I think it's the best thing for me mentally. And then I try to always take a step outside of myself to see why the setback happened and then how we can fix it. And so I guess that's a logical approach.
Yeah.
So illogical 24 hours with a logical future.
I love it.
Hold on. You just touched on something with Ayesha that's neat about how she handles stressful situations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could hear in her answer that she might have been recalling, some kind of incident or mishap that took place. But as she told me earlier on stage, she is kind of a fiery person, and she definitely would have a big response to something going amiss with the business. I can tell, but she manages to take a step back so that her own emotions she can handle them herself and not kind of damage the team or let anyone else really feel affected by them.
Yeah, that's great for probably all entrepreneurs, frankly. I mean, when it's your baby, you care so much. So yeah, it's not easy.
And it's just good to be able to recognize that in yourself, right? That you need a moment.
Yeah.
So she also said that she really does focus on that team, having the right people around her and hiring people who can kind of stand on their own. She is the kind of creative, visionary leader. And, she knows that she needs the right people around her to execute.
That's cool. So what did you talk about with her next?
I asked her about her charity, which is based in Oakland, California. It's called Eat, Learn, Play. And she started it with her husband, Steph Curry, in 2019. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, they really began to focus on building playgrounds at Oakland schools, doing literacy education, and meals. And they have raised more than $75 million and pledged to put that toward, again, more playgrounds, more literacy in Oakland. And it's their town, it's their hometown. It shows they really care about the schools there.
That's great. I mean, the world could use more playgrounds.
That's right. And I asked Ayesha what she's learned working together with her husband on that project after a quick break.
Every success is worth savoring. Celebrate with the extraordinary smooth taste of Glenfiddich, the world's most awarded single malt Scotch whiskey. Glenfiddich offers exclusive white glove concierge services. Let real personal assistants add a human touch to your corporate gifting, private event, tasting, or other hospitality needs. Simply contact concierge@glenfiddich.com. That's concierge@glenfiddich.com. Unmatched legacy, extraordinary taste. Drink Glenfiddich Single Malt Scotch Whiskey responsibly. Copyright 2024. Imported by William Grant & Sons, New York, New York.
Step 1 to a successful holiday sales period, start planning now. Meta just released a 4-step playbook to help SMBs like you create your strongest holiday ad campaign to date. The secret? Lean into experimentation in AI-powered tools like Advantage Plus shopping campaigns to find your holiday customers and drive sales. Check out the 4-step plan available at fburl.com/SMB-holiday-guide.
Have you heard about Brex? It's the world's smartest corporate card. Finance leaders love it because it's got powerful controls and rewards that help them make every dollar count. Here's why Brex cards are so smart. You can embed your expense policy inside the card. This lets you control employee spending before it even happens. Brex cards also automate manual expense tasks like receipts, memos, and reviews. So you're freed to focus on optimizing your company finances. Over 25,000 companies take every dollar further with Brex. Join them at brex.com/grow. What does the future hold for business? Can someone invent a crystal ball? Until then, over 38,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're able to peer into the future and seize new opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/inc. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/inc.
You and your husband also run the Eat, Learn, Play organization in Oakland. You have given and raised just a ton of money. I think more than $75 million, am I right?
Yeah.
Or pledged to help literacy in Oakland, build playgrounds. How is working together with him on that? And what have you learned from working with each other?
It's incredible working with each other. He leans on me, I lean on him, and in very different ways for each of us. And so I feel like I lend the creative, big idea, we've got to do this element to Eat, Learn, Play. And Stefan is let's take a look at the numbers. How can we do this in the most efficient, impactful way? And then we meet in the middle. And I think it works beautifully. And again, we surround ourselves with an incredible team. Our CEO, Chris Helfrich, is just incredible. He's an incredible mind, has the most pure heart for philanthropy. It runs deep within the roots of his family, and he couldn't be a more perfect person to help us execute what we're doing, and none of it would honestly be happening without him. We have amazing sponsors and partners that have come along with us for this journey and are in it for the long haul, and that's always a beautiful thing. It means you're doing good work, because nobody's going to want to put their big company on the line for somebody they think is not. So it's been really good. But I think we're so small, we're so new. There's so much work to be done. And so when I wake up in the morning, the fire that's lit inside of me is how can we make an impact today? And what new idea can we come up with to help make that happen? And so I approach from that standpoint.
Yeah. Do your kids have an impact too in that area? Do they have any input that they give you?
Not yet. We kind of run a lot of the books that we donate by them just to make sure that the kids are interested in what they're reading, because that's also a very important part of unlocking joy of reading is subject matter and that being interested, or else you just feel like you're reading a textbook, and kids don't want to do that. But ironically, my son who's 6, Cannon, he's going to go and do this will be his first time since he was a baby. I used to bring him in the baby carrier and stuff on our days, but he's going to go on his own and go help paint murals at one of the playgrounds that we're doing. And I just little things like that. So we're slowly starting to incorporate them into the ecosystem so that they can have a spirit of giving inside of them and understand how important it is to be a part of their community.
I think that's amazing. And I do think that a lot of other founders are wondering, especially if they've had successful businesses, how do I give back in a meaningful way? How do I make this what I want to do, work with my business? Maybe they don't even know how they want to give back. What advice would you have for folks who are looking to start either a charitable arm of their business or a foundation and do the right thing?
So one thing that was really important to us, because a lot of times, and especially when with Stephan playing basketball and being quite notable, what you get with that is people saying well, what am I donating my money to? And so something that was very important for us was to make sure that we were covering our overhead costs.
Yeah.
And so we cover 100% of our overhead costs so that people know.
So donors are not giving to staffing fees,
at all.
That kind of thing. They're giving to the actual work.
They're giving to the actual causes. And that's something that we're very proud of and that we've pledged to do. And I think that really helps when starting it. And it helps keep your business clean as well. Because, you see people getting in trouble all of the time, and it's really sad and upsetting. And it's just, nobody wants to be in that situation. And so for us, covering all of our overhead was a step in the right direction for making sure that Eat, Learn, Play is successful, and that Eat, Learn, Play can continue to have impact throughout the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So set up the business fundamentals first.
Yeah. Set up the fundamentals.
Finding that focus. For you guys, it was Oakland schools, right? You knew right away, this is the area we want to have impact in.
Yes. We became adults there in Oakland. We started our family there, and it's our adoptive home, truly. And so we started to realize very early on, like the disparities within the community and how much a lot of people needed. And so there was never a question that we were going to start there. It was, how are we going to start there? And what is it that we want to accomplish? And so I'd been working with No Kid Hungry for years before we started. And so nutrition was an extremely important part of what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
and then
it was literally the work you were doing already with cooking.
And then for him, obviously, he's in sports, and the statistics are there of how important that time is for kids, for their development, for their mental state.
Like being outdoors on a playground, getting that time outside, playing sports. Yeah.
And then we looked at the school system and the education and what the statistics were there, and that was extremely depressing. We knew we wanted to attack all of those things. It was just like, how? And so, again, Chris Helfrich and our board and everybody helped us. No, we can do all of these things, actually. And actually, these are the 3 fundamental pillars of making sure that a child has, 1, a great childhood, but 2, a successful and fruitful life going forward. And so it's like very straightforward, but it's extremely necessary.
So to you, it sort of presented itself as this outpouring of your areas of passions in terms of childhood development. That's so great. Wonderful. Before we go, let me ask you, what's next? What's next for Sweet July?
So what's next? We opened up our first formal cafe location in Santa Monica at the New Regent Hotel.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. And so that's very exciting. And then we have several books that we're publishing this year through our partnership with Zando. And so we're really excited about that and to lift young and new authors to the forefront of the publishing world.
Yeah, and it's a Jamaican story, the first one?
The first one, Honeysuckle and Bone, Trisha Tobias. It's an eerie, haunted, twisted story about a girl who goes to Jamaica and the house that they're encountering is haunted.
Oh, I love it.
It's great.
Fun. So yet another of the threads of your heritage coming through in all your projects.
Always.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Ayesha, for being here today.
Thank you.
What I loved about Ayesha's story is that it all began with her passion for cooking. And then once she branched out into other businesses, they each honored her heritage. Her Sweet July shop focuses on selling women and BIPOC individual-made goods. Her publishing company is publishing a Jamaican ghost story. And today, she focuses on giving back to the community that embraced her family over a decade ago. Yes, she's known in certain circles as being Steph Curry's wife, but Ayesha does not see herself as a celebrity. She sees herself as a founder on a mission, and that mission is still growing. That's all for this episode of From the Ground Up.
Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice. Also, if you like this episode or have suggestions of what topics you'd like to hear about, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or reach out to us on Ink's social channels, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, or Instagram.
From the Ground Up is produced by Mariam Kiparowitze and Avery Miles. Editing by Blake Odom, mix and sound design by Nicholas Torres. Our executive producer is Josh Christensen. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
Ayesha. Do you remember that song? Ayesha,
No.
Ayesha, so glad to meet you.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
No.
Oh. Do you know that song? Ayesha, you are the girl that I never had. And I want to get to know you better.
Ask Josh if he does. Sing it again.
Ayesha, you are the girl that I never had. And I want to get to know you better.
Nobody knows this song? Josh doesn't know either.
Ayesha, Ayesha, so glad to meet you. You don't know this song?
Hi, listeners. I'm Blake Odom, producer of From the Ground Up. Today, we have a special segment brought to you by Inc. in collaboration with our partners at Glenfiddich Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. This year at the Inc. 5000 Gala, Glenfiddich presented the inaugural Legacy Award to Stephen Marsh, founder of Smarsh. This award recognizes a trailblazer, an individual who has graced the Inc. 5000 list multiple times, embodying the spirit of innovation, boldness, and a relentless drive to defy the ordinary. Much like Glenfiddich, a brand that has pushed the boundaries of excellence throughout its 130-year history to become the world's most awarded single malt Scotch whiskey. Stephen Marsh exemplifies the courage and brilliance it takes to redefine industries and elevate the game. Inc. Editor-in-Chief Mike Hoffman spoke with Stephen Marsh about his remarkable journey, the legacy he has built, and the honor of being the first recipient of this award presented by Glenfiddich. Here's that captivating conversation. Enjoy and be inspired.
Hi, I'm Mike Hoffman, Editor-in-Chief of Inc., and I'm delighted to be here today with Steve Marsh, the founder of Smarsh, a multi-time Inc. 5000 honoree, and the recipient of the inaugural Inc. 5000 Legacy Award presented by Glenfiddich. So, Steve, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, Mike.
Oh, yeah, this is great. So let me get this straight. You've been on the Inc. 5000 list 17 times so far.
I think that's correct. I think 17 times.
We double-checked it. So you've been on the list 17 times, and how many years has the company been in business?
Since 2001, so about 23, I guess.
So you've been on the list more than you've not been on the list in the 23 years of your corporate life.
I think once we finally made the revenue threshold, we made the list and have been on it since.
Well, congratulations. It's amazing to make the Inc. 5000. It's amazing to make the Inc. 5000 a couple of times, and to make it 17 times puts you in really rare air. Only a few companies have made it more than 15 times, so congratulations. Now, you started the company in 2001, is that right?
That's right.
And your name is Steve Marsh, and the name of the company is Smarsh. Do I have it right that your original email address had something to do with the ultimate name of the company?
I incorporated to do consulting work, never thinking that the business name would see the light of day. It was just incorporated as Smarsh Inc. because Marsh was taken by the large insurance company, so we couldn't use that. My friends at the time my coworkers had all called me Smarsh because that was like my email handle. So I said, hey, let's just go with that. The domain name was available, and many years later, with a larger marketing department and more resources available to us, more domain names available to us, we still decided to keep the name Smarsh. But that should serve as proof that I never had intention of building this business into anything.
So who was your first client?
My first client was a small brokerage out of Boston, Massachusetts, and a friend of mine had worked there and had told me about this need to archive communications for regulatory compliance, and I knew virtually nothing. I mean, I knew absolutely nothing about that. I knew that I needed to make some money to pay rent and that I had some technology skills. So I set out to actually help them implement a solution that I thought I would source from another vendor, and quickly found that there weren't other vendors out there doing this, at least to service the small and mid-sized companies. The business at that point pivoted from being a consulting business to being the archiving and communications intelligence business that it's become today.
When you started on the hockey stick-like trajectory of growth, what was the sort of first moment, if you remember, where you kind of knew, oh, this is like not just a consulting business, this is a real business, a technology business, and actually it's a fast-growth technology business?
One moment that comes to mind is, we had a large competitor in an adjacent space. They weren't archiving the way we were. They did data backup or something. And they made an offer to buy the company really in our first year of effort in trying to sell, the archiving service. And it was hard as a founder to turn down, I think it was like $1 million, but it was complicated, but we passed on it. And that was a great decision. But that really validated for me that we had built something that was at least perceived to be of value to someone else. And of course, making the Inc. 5000 list for the first time after applying earlier that year and not being able to apply the year prior to that because we weren't big enough. We didn't meet the revenue thresholds. Anyway, when we made that list, that was fantastic validation for all the hard work that we had done. It gave us a sense of credibility when we would go out to our customers by being able to put the Inc. 5000 recipient logo on our emails and on our website. And that actually helped us grow to the next level beyond that.
And you at some point took growth capital, private equity, is that right?
We did. It wasn't until 2007. Our first investors were minority investors in 2007. And ironically, the point at which they became interested was a point at which we no longer needed money. And I think many founders probably go through this. When you're trying to raise money, it's a lot harder than when you don't need it. When you don't need it, everybody seems to come out of the woodwork, and then they try to convince you why you should take money. I think that was a key moment where we realized we needed to significantly upgrade our technology infrastructure if we wanted to win bigger and bigger customers. We were making incremental changes every year. The rip and replace that you hear technology companies go through, where every 6 months or so we were taking out old equipment and replacing it with new, bigger, and better equipment. And that really just wasn't scalable. It was becoming a distraction to have to keep going through those projects every 6 months or so. By raising capital, we were able to get off that hamster wheel, and we were also able to start making some acquisitions. It became a part of life from that moment forward.
What did you learn about business ownership and business leadership going through the process of acquisitions?
We gained access to people who had operated at the level beyond where we were, which is a pattern we'll see occur over and over in our business. But there were smarter people who had more experience in a variety of areas, and they presented some of the reasons why we would want to do some acquisitions. They also educated me and the rest of my team on how to do them. But it taught me that there are a variety of ways to help grow the business. You probably don't want to grow your business just doing acquisitions, although that does create value for a lot of companies. But for us, it was a combination of organic growth through innovation and product development and serving our customers with different products and services, and making some of these acquisitions to bring in new technology, to bring in additional competitors, to bring in more expertise than we otherwise would possess. And today that trend continues. We're trying to bring in more AI expertise, for example. We might look to do an acquisition there.
Can I ask, where are you guys at revenue now?
We are about $500 million.
And what's the fastest growth part of the company right now?
There's a lot of focus on leveraging the data that we have stored on behalf of our customers. So if you think about the initial use case, for those that don't know, is that we help customers by storing their electronic communications so that they can meet regulatory requirements. You have to have this stuff. You have to be able to produce it. That's kind of the baseline service. But what we've found is that over the years, you start to amass more and more really valuable information on behalf of our customers. So we have years and years worth of emails, text messages, Zoom calls, whatever it may be. In a world where artificial intelligence is taking over and people are trying to find ways to harness the value of data, we're sitting on what we think is one of the biggest gold mines out there in terms of data. It's employee communications that were captured initially for a different reason, but now can be turned into sales opportunities, customer service opportunities, new product ideas. I think we're seeing a lot of growth.
So an archive can become a large language model.
Yeah.
So this is obviously the Inc. 5000 Legacy Award brought to you by Glenfiddich. As you think about the legacy of the company and your legacy as a founder, what do you still hope for? What is your idea of what the legacy you want to leave is?
We have a very unique culture, I think one that reflects what I wanted to create many, many years ago. I want it to be an organization that, hopefully my kids one day look back on and say, wow, Dad must have built something pretty interesting here. It's still around. It's still relevant. Our customers still find value in what we're doing. I just want to see it reach its maximum potential. Not every company, not every company that is started or that I'm involved in or that I invest in has the same opportunity to persist through time. Some companies are better as a short-term product that maybe gets sold to someone else and they integrate the technologies. Some technologies have a shorter lifespan where maybe it's 2 to 3 years and then you have to move on. This is a business that I believe truly has the opportunity to exist for many, many years and to be relevant by just listening to customers and adapting and finding or addressing use cases that we found many years ago.
Steve Marsh, the founder of Smarsh, a $500 million company founded in a Brooklyn apartment that's been on the Inc. 5000 list 17 times. Thanks so much for joining us today.
No, thanks for having me.
And before I let you go, we have these glasses of Glenfiddich here. You are the inaugural recipient of the Inc. 5000 Legacy Award presented by Glenfiddich. So let's cheers to your success.
Cheers.
Congratulations again to Stephen Marsh. And I couldn't end this episode without getting a little taste of Glenfiddich myself. And since I got a bottle right here, cheers to you listeners with Glenfiddich, the world's most awarded single malt Scotch whiskey. Drink responsibly. Glenfiddich Single Malt Scotch Whiskey is copyrighted 2024 and imported by William Grant & Sons, Inc., New York, New York.